I grew this. My fingertips radiate sunshine, and I water them with the tears of a jaguar.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode. Today is the 8th of September. However, I thought today would stay out of the garden and actually look at something a little bit different and a little bit more exciting. This is seed propagation, germination, basically being able to chuck a seed in the ground and actually get it to grow. Now, any gardener would tell you it's a piece of cake, and it is, providing you actually know what you're doing. Now, there's 100 different ways of actually doing this. This is my way. It's not necessarily the right way, but I've had a massive success of this. It's straightforward, it's simple, it's easy. It basically reduces the chance of overwatering, damp, rot down to almost zero. Yeah, it is literally, utterly foolproof. What I normally use over here, these are just like your standard water canisters that you get from somewhere like Officeworks or Coles, which are the supermarkets here. Generally they're 10 litres, which is around about 2.5 gallons for anyone over in the US. These guys are basically being cut straight down the gut, through the middle, and what I've done is I've actually cut, even though you can't see it there, a slit straight down here as well. So basically they'll separate and actually allow it to go up and over the top of that one. So in effect you have your mini greenhouse that keeps the humidity in as well. The other thing is the actual mix itself is a 50-50 mix of perlite and vermiculite. Now, anyone that's had any friends that have anything to do with hydroponics will know that this stuff is really, really good when it comes to actually growing hydroponic vegetables or anything along those lines. Now, this is what I normally use to get the seed started, because like I said, it is completely clean. There's no dirt, there's no bacteria, there's no microbes, there's nothing in it that will actually attack or set your seedlings back. So as far as I'm concerned, it works brilliantly. So this is what I'm going to use, and this is what I'm going to show you how to use. So what I've got today, as you can see there, it's also very porous as well, which is good because it allows the water to basically drain through, and you need very, very little water. I mean, this stuff absorbs a lot, but it allows a lot of airflow, so it's definitely a win-win. But what we've got to put in there today, we've got 4 lots of seeds to choose from. Basically we have sweet corn, we have sugar baby watermelons. These ones up the top here are the big giant Russian sunflowers. And last but not least is, now they're a wee pumpkin. They're a small little, almost like a baseball, like a tennis ball size pumpkin. So they're extremely good in small compact areas where you don't have a lot of room to actually let these things go crazy. So that's the 4 that we're dealing with today. Obviously, I'm not planting this many. This is just the ones I've pulled out of the packet to show you. They're all heirlooms. I'm very much 100% heirlooms. I like to be able to actually keep my seeds and reuse them the year after. If you can, heirlooms are becoming very, very harder to try and actually get hold of. There's more hybridised stuff, and a lot of the seed giants go out there and make things extremely difficult for us ordinary folk to be able to actually grow things, especially for farmers. All the stuff that's been going on lately with Monsanto is probably enough, and if you want a bit more news on that, you just got to look Monsanto up in Google. These guys are basically being hybridising and patenting their own seeds. So, you know, in the end, they basically end up pushing all the heirloom varieties out. They become extinct. The only way you can buy them is through Monsanto, and then you can't regrow them again because they're hybridised. So this is a way of also ensuring that these little guys continue to keep on going on. It's also good for the survival of us, I guess, yeah, in terms of being able to have a free society in which we can grow what we want when we want to grow it. So out of what we've got here, basically, they're all very hardy, there's no doubt about that. It's just getting them off the ground, which is normally where things start to get a little bit shady. But once they're away, they generally just explode and they take off. The sunflowers are probably the easiest one. If you've got kids that want to get into gardening and see something just go from 0 to Mach 1, it's sunflower seeds. These guys absolutely and utterly rock it. Now when you plant them, the biggest trick, and it's so simple to not get right, is that the point on the sunflower seeds is actually the root. So when you plant them, basically you have to definitely make sure that your actual root is facing down, and that way it will just shoot straight up as it takes off. So that's the sunflower seeds. But the giant Russians are beautiful. They can actually reach a head size of 50 centimeters, which is huge. Yeah, it's a massive head size. Wild birds love them. They're extremely healthy for us as well. On this side, of course, these ones are the pumpkin seeds. Now with pumpkins, pumpkins are a little bit on the different side. Instead of going up or down, pumpkins actually, if I can pick one up, need to literally be planted like that. That's how they actually grow. Now these are, like I said, they're very, very small pumpkins, so hence the fact that they're also very small seeds. It's very hard to see on the smaller ones. On the larger ones it's far more pronounced, but basically the root, once again, goes straight down, or the actual top of the surface there will actually push the new seedling straight up. So they need to be basically done horizontally. Now that's an exception. There's not normally many that are around that are actually like that. They're either point up or point down. On that same topic, over here's the sugar baby watermelons. Now these guys are small. Once again, it's great for if you've got a compact small garden, but they're actually very small, very concentrated, very juicy little watermelons. Now these guys, basically, unlike the sunflowers where you go point down, these guys are actually point up, that way. That's how they're actually going. So where on the sunflowers the root is actually the point at the bottom, on these ones the root actually comes out of the round base at the bottom and the shoot actually comes out of the top. So it's the complete reverse. But all these guys here are basically an inch under the ground. That's no more, no less, and they'll take off from there. So that's those three. And then of course, good old traditional true corn. Corn's probably one of the easiest things to grow. As long as it has water and nutrients and sunlight, it'll just go. Now, true corn, unlike sweet corn, is not hybridized. So it's your traditional run-of-the-mill 1800s type corn. Very starchy, very corny, great with butter, you name it. But it's not the typical sweet varieties that you just bite into and you just drool everywhere. These guys, do require you to have something to go with them, but they're a beautiful piece of corn. So I've got those as well. So generally, that's the four that we've got going. And of course, with corn, you don't have to worry which way up. It just goes straight in the ground and away it goes. Now, as far as actually getting them going, normally it's an advantage to actually soak them first. Now, normally I'll soak my seeds like this for possibly 6 hours. And what it does is it allows the actual seed coating to become extremely wet. It allows it to basically seep through to the embryo on the inside of the seed. It nourishes that which gives us off to a flying start, plus because it's softened the actual seed casing, it makes it easier for both the root as well as the actual plants to start to come out. Now, this is my own little cocktail of basically fish emulsion and seaweed solution. Very, very diluted, just irrespective of how dark it actually looks. It goes a long way. But normally what I'll do is I'll just get a little container straight out of the kitchen while the wife's not looking, which after I watch this, she'll probably most likely thump me. 1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, I'll run out of the fourth, so we'll crack out the good old Tupperware containers. So all it is basically a case of dropping these guys straight in and just letting them soak, and it is literally that easy. So for the garden that we've basically got, the square foot garden around the other side, I've got room for the corn and the sunflowers out there at the moment. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically there's 8 squares left over. So ultimately what we're looking for is you'll go for the biggest seeds that have no damage on them at all. These are the ones that look pristine, look, really good to look at, they look healthy. In our case, we'd want 4, obviously. So we're looking at basically 2 per square. And then what we'll do is we'll add an extra 1 to each of those squares to basically cover anything that could go wrong. So if we do happen to get a dud or something does accidentally go wrong with one of them, you've got 1 left over. I mean, you can do 2. There's nothing wrong with doing 2, but this stuff is so successful, it's just not needed. So that's that. And pretty much the same deal with the corn as well. The corn, obviously, you're looking for the biggest ones that don't have any damage. Real nice, large. There's plenty of growth. What have we got? 4. That's a good one there. 4, 5, 6. Now with corn, of course, you're supposed to grow corn in a block. Normally it's a 9 by 9 block, but I don't have that much room. You can only do what you can do. So, yeah, I do like corn. If it means I've got to actually take some of the actual petal heads off in order to actually pollinate these guys by hand, then so be it. I don't care. But that's what needs to be done. It needs to be done. So that's those two done. Now, as far as the little strawberry patch around the side that I said I was going to demolish, that's where we're going to be putting the pumpkins and the watermelons. Now, because they're so large, even though they're a small variety, they're going to need plenty of room. So realistically, you'd be looking at maybe, you'd probably get away with 2. So if we go diagonally, you would get, what have we got? There's a good one there. So we'd probably go, actually probably the same with the other ones in all honesty, you'd probably just go for the 2 and a spare. So, what have we got here? Nice one, that'll do. There's a nice fat one. So that's 3. And look, in all honesty, most of these watermelons look exactly identical. So I don't think we're going to have much of an issue there. So 1, 2, and we'll go for number 3. There we go. So that's basically got us set. So we'll have 2 watermelons and a spare, 2 pumpkins and a spare, 4 lots of sunflowers and 2 spares. And basically they're the same as well, 4 lots of corn and 2 spares. That should do it. Very good. Okay, that'll do for now, and I'll come back a little bit later after we've got these into the ground, and I'll give you an update as they go. No worries. Cheers.